Hello. So today we are going to be evaluating the prelim and how that process helped us later on with the creation of our final thriller. So we're just going to go through this frame by frame really and talk you through how it went and how this helped us later on. Yep. So without further ado, let's play it. Okay, so that first bit where George is walking through the door is the match on action, I believe.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So, how did we find filming there?
It wasn't too bad. I mean, it took quite a few goes where we had to get him walking through the exact same bit because it's the bit where he goes through the door. And sometimes you don't quite walk at the same angle, so it doesn't look as good because it's turning on a corner. But it wasn't too bad. We probably had about three cuts of it.
Yeah, but I believe we did have a match on action in our final thriller. So that helped us later on because obviously we planned it, we had experience doing it, we knew how to edit it together. So it did help, it was beneficial for later on with the creation of that. Also, the music, I think we should talk about.
I'll hold my hand up there and say that I got excited and tried to make it look better than the others and added some sort of music that did not fit at all.
Funk music.
Yeah, I thought it looked cool when he was walking along, but really
it didn't
it's
really.
A bit cringy, isn't it?
Yeah, it didn't really make any sense with the storyline. That was the thing about this. We didn't really plan the storyline that much. We kind of just wanted to go get it done.
Yeah, done.
So we didn't really plan the storyline, the character. We didn't do any of that. We didn't take into account like the character profiling, which we all did later on when we did our final thriller, didn't we? We planned George's character, the backing story, costume, mise en scène. We didn't think about that in this. That's what,
no, not at all. We literally just got it done.
Like
we kind of wanted to go with the idea of getting ahead of the other groups.
Yeah.
Which worked for a bit.
But yeah, we kind of just literally went straight and did it, and we didn't take into account the music for starters. We've already talked about that. Didn't really make any sense. And then in the final thriller, the music, we added some that coincided with the storyline. Yeah. And you edited that, didn't you, the music?
Yeah, so I had to, the flashback, so I slowed the music down because it was a bit more like slow, heavy breathing alongside the soundtrack. And towards the end he starts coughing up due to the smoke, so I made it louder and quicker to kind of really increase that. Yeah, that's true. George and myself both did some of the heavy breathing and the coughing voiceovers, and we also, for sound, there's a bit where we videoed the window and George is slamming on it, and it looks really good, but it was added afterwards actually. So
we did a lot of, explored the use of sound more, and it made sense in it and contributed to the building of suspense and stuff, where in this it's kind of just a soundtrack played over the top just to add a little something really.
Something.
So yeah, the lighting as well, we didn't really think about the lighting.
It was just natural lighting.
Just whatever was there in the room. Natural lighting. And in our main thing, we wanted it to be dark, didn't we?
Yeah. There was a window above one of the doors which had the light from the hallway, and it also coincided with the smoke, and it made it look like fire, which I think worked really well. So we used all these different aspects of mise en scène to contribute to the atmosphere and the creation of suspense in a typical thriller and the codes and conventions. Yes. So yeah, in a way that the music, we learned how to add it, but obviously for our final we learned that it needs to be a lot more complex to contribute to the effectiveness of it. So yeah, shall we play it a bit more? You may.
Oh, Clifford's making me do it, George. Classic Clifford.
Right, so there is where we had one of our biggest mistakes in the prelim, didn't we?
Yeah, it was a continuity error. So we had Robin in one scene looking at the well, it's the same thing.
The board.
In one clip, looking at the board, and then the next, she's talking to George, and she's looking at George, but there's no her head turn or anything. So it literally looks like 1 minute's here, and then cut straight to there, and it just doesn't really look that great, does it?
It didn't match up, and it didn't really make sense. So that, even though it was annoying because we had to refilm it, didn't we? Because we didn't notice it later on until we showed the teacher. So obviously they've got an eye for that kind of thing, and we just was oblivious. And then I think that helped later on, because when we did look at our final cuts and stuff, we were looking out for those little things that obviously...
We did have a problem with continuity though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, with the, what was it?
It was the baskets.
Mirror.
Yeah,
the
there's baskets on top in the mirror. You could see at one point there was baskets and stuff on top of a wardrobe, and then later on in the scene there wasn't, and it took Miss Kelly's sharp eye to point it out, and then we had to go back and refilm it during a lunchtime. But
obviously these all mistakes helped us learn further on not to do that and to look out for these.
Yeah, it was only small little mistakes really across it, wasn't it? So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, but obviously with this, because we did it all, the filming in one day, when we found the error, it was kind of inconvenient because...
we hadn't made any plans to refilm anything. No. So we had to come back on the Monday when George was in desperate need of a haircut as well, which he constantly complained about, but... You know, and he had to wear the exact same clothes, which is also annoying, especially with schoolwear. Yeah. It's not like you had a set costume that we did for our thriller. He had to wear the exact same school clothes that would have been in the wash and stuff like that. Yeah. That was all fine eventually. Because we did do that, it helped us with the thing, because we knew how to do it efficiently. It didn't quite come as a shock. Yeah. The way it did. It didn't make... For other groups. Yeah. So, yeah, that helped us out. And also, with the refilming... Because that was literally like 2 days that took us, because we had to refilm the continuity error. But with our main thriller, obviously we had to shoot like through the course of like a month, didn't we? Like, yeah, we must have had 5 or 6 actual filming days across the whole of it. Yeah, so obviously... Which is so much for just a 2-minute video. Yeah, but there was but we were kind of used to it by the end of it, because obviously these little things that we were looking out for, and the different cuts. And for the main thing, obviously this is only, what, 17 seconds? Yeah. And our main thing was 2 minutes long, and we have to add so much more variety of cuts and different camera angles. Because in this, we only had, we had the match and action, shot, reverse shot. That's about it, really. I think the first time we actually went filming, we sort of thought, right, we get this shot, this shot, this shot, and we didn't realise that we really had to over-film and then cut down, because it was like any slight mistake, you just have to redo it all if you're not over-filming. Yeah. What did we try? We also tried, we did the exact same scene, the whole scene, from 4 or 5 different angles across the room, and that worked, and it was much easier to piece together. Yeah. And obviously when you do the refilming, everything has got to stay the same. So the setup, the location in George's house had to stay the same, and it was quite difficult with the whole makeup, because it had to look the same, obviously, with the close-ups. Yeah. It had to be exactly the same. But we knew all about this because of the prelim. We knew about reshooting it and making sure that everything, all the aspects of mise-en-scene were exactly the same. There is one big difference between the prelim and the actual thriller was the editing software we used. Yeah. So to start with, I used Splice, because some of the Year 13 said it was a nice easy one to get started with, and I think it was free as well. And it worked, we could sort of cut it together, but if you got it wrong you had to redo the whole splice completely, and that was a bit frustrating, especially starting out. There was more mistakes, so we had to just redo it. Whereas iMovie, I think it was a paid app for about £4, £3, which wasn't too bad, but you could just scroll through, and if you got that bit wrong, you could scroll through, find it and edit it. So this was really helpful with getting to grips with editing, learning all the basic techniques and putting cuts together, because obviously we hadn't done it before. This was the initial thing, that was the first time we've ever edited anything. So it was really helpful just to get to grips with how to do it, all the different shots that are required. And then also, with there being mistakes in that, you have to learn. So I did lots of YouTube tutorials and stuff like that, having a look at trying to make it better for the actual thing.
And we did have a problem as well in the prelim with the camera, didn't we? Your phone.
I used my phone, and I think I put earphones in and it blew up a little bit, and the sound wouldn't work when I videoed it. So we had to get Ella's phone, which was a 5C, to video it, and there was some from Robin's phone, some from mine, some from Ella's.
It just didn't really
so there wasn't
match up,
like a continuity of
camera quality.
Yeah, camera quality.
And then we learned from that, and that was also really hard. We learned from that because of the storage on phones.
Yeah, that's true.
It was so inconvenient because obviously we've all got different loads of photos on our phone.
I wiped my phone and my iPad for this.
Yeah, so. You needed so much storage. And even when we were doing like videos for the blog, we couldn't have all of these different edit cuts and stuff on our phone at once, and then it was hard to export it without storage. So we learnt that with the prelim. We were like, it's going to be difficult to use your phone, even though the iPhone camera is quite good quality and you can get a good film out of it. We decided that we would use the camera, didn't we?
Yeah, I got a camera for Christmas,
and that's what we're using now. And I think that really has helped because
that's why Robin looks so beautiful in high definition. So
lovely. And then we were just filming on that, wasn't we? And then and then putting it into your iPad, and then
with a little adapter.
Yeah.
And then I'd try not to delete it, which I've already done.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our third cut of this, so
yeah, we've learnt from our mistakes.
Hopefully.
So.
Is that about it?
Yeah. Also, the dialogue in this. In terms of sound,
cringy.
Really cringy, the dialogue, and we learnt from obviously speaking to the Year 13s as well about it, that dialogue, if it's used, it should be minimal, and it's probably best if you don't, because we've learnt from this, watching it back now, and at the time it was really cringy, and it kind of broke the kind of anything that you would sort of like suspense
even
or
this
anything.
Talking here, it just sounds cringy.
And obviously, so we knew that for our thriller, we didn't include any dialogue. We did the sound effects, like we said, with the breathing, but any sort of dialogue would have kind of broken the suspense. You'd have thought, oh, it's just George being an actor. It would have been really cringe. So we learnt from this not to do any dialogue, and I think, looking back at this now, I think we've come quite a long way, to be honest. We hope. Because looking at that, there's so many different things that we can now point out from the prelim that we've done wrong, and we can laugh about it now, and it helped later on so we didn't create the same mistakes again, and the efficiency of the whole process was a lot better because we knew what not to do. We never really had that error where some groups in the prelim they were filming it portrait.
Some of them have done it in the actual...
Yeah, in the actual thing. So luckily, because you can't really do that on this camera. That's a good thing. Because with the iPhone, that's such an easy mistake. And we did do it when we were filming some of the vlogs on the iPhone. With this camera, it's good because obviously we're keeping it that one way.
When I went to South Africa, some of the videos were up that way. They weren't able to go into the video. What I did, I used iMovie for some of the blogs throughout the whole coursework. But they just sort of looked quite plain and basic. But then I found an app called Defont, I think it was, and I was able to find a font that was sort of had more of a thrillery feel to it.
Had to go more with the...
Yeah, and it sort of went with it. I started off with one with blood dripping off it, but it just looked cringy, and I think everyone understood it. It was just me being lazy, but we fixed it, and I think it looks really good now. Yeah. To be honest.
So there were some things from the prelim that we didn't have in the prelim, so we had to learn later on. But a lot of the stuff...
Carry on.
A lot of the stuff in the prelim helped us later on. So yeah.
Yeah. Done? Romeo done?
Romeo done. Yeah, I think so. It is.
Time for Rob's catchphrase.
Catch you later.
Embarrassing. Goodbye.
You're the weakest link. Goodbye.
That one.
I feel like